Thank you. Great. Hello, everyone. Closer. Can everybody hear me? Good. Okay. Just for me to understand the audience type a little bit, who's here is representing an L2 or building an L2? One, two. What is everybody else doing at the L2 event? Like building applications or like building applications on L2s? Perfect. Okay, sounds good. Today I'm going to talk to you about a new type of user that is going to dominate every L2 for the next 5-10 years, and it is going to completely change how L2s are built, how they are consumed, and how they should be optimized. We'll start with one simple remark mentioning that today's financial markets have exceeded what humans can potentially compute. The financial markets require 24/7 monitoring. They require incredible amounts of attention from the user, and especially from an L2 perspective, we are now facing levels of fragmentation that we have never faced before. Why is this important for L2s? Because you have to compete with many other L2s, and you have to go even out of your way to attract certain user types that is becoming more and more difficult to obtain. This meme, I'm sure you have seen many times in these like blockchain ecosystems and environments. This one represents like the first challenges that the first L2s faced when the plasmas were there, and you needed to make certain trade-offs, but these trade-offs were a bit more simpler than the decisions you need to make now. You either need to, for example, optimize for gas cost, or you need to optimize for speed, block time, and all of those things. In the meantime, the L2 space got more and more crowded. We have innovated much more. There's different types of L2s for everything. So my new meme to explain the L2 space is this one. A user faces many different options when it comes to choosing an L2, and L2 faces many different challenges to obtain users. You need to not only now take care of your gas cost, your block speed and everything else, but you also need to attract the best DeFi protocols. You need to bring TVL. You need to provide competitive APRs. You need to provide competitive APYs, because at the end of the day, DeFi is the biggest market product fit that blockchain was able to find. So how do you challenge, how do you take on this challenge of creating this multi-variable compute environment for L2s to take on? We have a solution which can get you this. And these are agents. I know, and I know that you have probably heard a lot about agents in the past months, about Web3 agents, about what they can do, what they cannot do. Currently, most of the agents out there are more speculative interfaces. They don't really have a function. Giza agents and what we build, they differ from a fundamental perspective. We provide a new financial structure, an infrastructure for a new type of financial markets where there are no humans executing on the markets, but everything is done to the agents. Why is this important for an L2 and why you should care about it? We'll go into those right now. For the first financial agent in Web3, we built an agent called Arma. What Arma does at a very high level is it does stablecoin yield optimization, automated 24/7 across multiple lending protocols. So the reality that you're facing is that a user will no longer have to go to your DeFi protocol on your L2, but they will just fund an agent, and the agent will funnel that money into different DeFi protocols that you do have. Why is this important? Because it is going to bring a lot of capital efficiency, and it's going to decrease the user friction in user acquisition as well. So in terms of the numbers of what Arma was able to do in just a few weeks, Arma has created more than 27,000 transactions out of thin air. And these transactions had to be signed by any humans. They did not require any inputs from any humans. Most of this happened when people were sleeping. So what we are aiming towards is creating an L2 environment where it's always on, 24/7, transaction after transaction, creating more and more network worth and protocol revenue. What we are essentially are capable of doing is we are taking the control of capital from an entity that is concerned with preserving it and moving it to an entity that is concerned with optimizing it. So what we're essentially able to do is, instead of a $10,000 from a user going to a DeFi protocol in your L2 and just staying there for the 4 months, we give it to an agent that is constantly looking for ways to optimize it. So first it moves it to one DeFi protocol, then it moves it to another DeFi protocol, then it moves it to another DeFi protocol. So as a network and as a protocol, what you're able to get is 5 times, 10 times, 20 times more volume from the same amount of capital that you would get from an idle position. And this in itself is a completely game changer for any network and any L2. And this is one of the first reasons why you should try to optimize for agents rather than users. The second number is we launched Arma on Base 2 weeks ago. And in 2 weeks, it went from 0 to close to 700,000 in management of capital. This is $700,000 in stable coins of user capital that Arma is constantly moving from one protocol on Base to another protocol on Base to another protocol on Base, and it's constantly generating volume for Base and the protocols inside. One of the key things here is that we are able to create an enhanced capital markets, enhanced efficiency, and we can bring diversity to these markets that you're not able to get currently in an L2 environment. Currently, everything moves one way or the other, and we're able to diversify the flow of capital in a much more efficient way. The third number is we have over 14,000 financial agents deployed right now on Base. This is one-to-one with our user number, because every single person gets their own Arma and gets their own Giza agent. What does this number tell us? This number tells us that we can reduce the friction in user acquisition for L2s by miles by providing a much more simpler interface where the user doesn't have to go to Morpho, doesn't have to go to Aave, doesn't have to understand the super complicated interfaces and the mechanisms that comes with it, doesn't have to sign 30 different transactions to go from A to B. They can just fund an agent, and the agent will take care of all of these things for them. And us streamlining this adoption phase has a huge benefit if you're an L2, because you don't really have to think about onboarding your every single user to your complex DeFi protocols. You can just bring them to a very simplified interface that will take care of everything for them. There are incredible overlaps in agent economics and what L2s can provide. And I think these are the main reasons why L2s should optimize for agents in the near future, and near future I'm talking about next week, rather than humans. The first part is that the agents are looking for efficient execution environments, because every single cost that they incur has a huge impact on the potential profitability of the agent. So when an agent is looking for the right environment, it is always going to opt for the part that gives us the least cost. And this is where the competitive landscape of L2s are going to become even more competitive, because all of the financial agents are going to be eventually cross-chain, and an agent bringing capital to your L2 or not is going to depend on whether you can provide it an efficient environment to execute. Agent increased transaction volume and TVL. As we mentioned, you get multiple times more volume, multiple times more TVL by removing the protocol from this whole transaction flow and just replacing with an agent. And the protocols are very much going to be the backend of DeFi, similar to smart contracts, similar to everything else we have in between. Enhances protocol fees and network metrics, as we discussed, and further optimize the economics through optimization, through diversification, through personalization, and everything else in between. You can follow us on Giza Tech XYZ. You can add me on Telegram. I'll be around to talk a little bit about it. Currently, some of the use cases that we are working with ecosystems has a huge range. We are working with ecosystems to bootstrap their environment, where an ecosystem might have the TVL, they might have the protocols, they might have the liquidity, but they don't have the users. With implementing Giza agents and financial agents, they no longer have to have the users, because you will get the best user who will be constantly moving capital consciously and sophisticatedly in your ecosystem. And we are working with other ecosystems that who has the users, but they are looking for smarter ways to onboard much more. And we are able to handle all of the complex financial operations in the background and remove DeFi's overhead completely. These are a few use cases that I am excited about. The part that I'm excited about the most is like a very immediate near future where an ecosystem like Base can do 20 times more volume without having the need to acquire 20 times more users. And this is what we enable. Thank you so much.